All right, guys, we're in the middle of some
So let me explain to you why
bit of a
she's like this.
conflict here.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, she can get me on one movie now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So welcome back this
By the way,
week.
I have to do. No, first I have to have a mea culpa because I completely fucked up your joke
What was that?
about the Monty Python joke.
Oh, yes, I forgot about
I
this.
didn't. I was slow on
We
the
had,
uptake. Yes.
I'm trying to think, was that a video? That was a video we posted, right?
Yes, it was
It
about
was-
the 3 questions.
correct. So
let
we-
me ask the
Yeah, but
questions.
so what we do with these is I'll edit the video now, and then I cut out some clips and stuff, and that's how these things end up on Instagram. And so I put together the clip where it was Julian asking, what was the 3? There was the
Questions. What do you want to do? Why do you want it? It's a what, the why, and the how.
How do you feel?
How do you
How do you
feel was
feel?
the first one.
What do you want and why do you want it?
And so, and it was like, oh, I got this. That was a perfect little clip. We'll put it out there. But trying to come up with captions for these things without just repeating them is this, like, in my opinion, it's not even an art. It's just a stupid thing that you have to do sometimes. And so I'm like, all right, what do I do? And then I was like, wait a minute. So I put on there, it was like, answer me these questions 3, and then I just left it at that. And sometimes the way we do it is I'll put a thing out there, and then Julian will, if there's going to be anything either more wordy or
That I had in mind.
confrontational. Those
Sometimes.
aren't. I don't come in with the sword. That's usually him. So Julian will come in and change it into Julian's words if there's anything he wants to add. So Julian changed it, and I'm like, God damn it, Julian.
Because it was
like,
a Monty Python.
I
Yeah,
sneak one Monty Python joke into our Instagram, and you miss it.
I did. By the way, 2 people totally got it.
Yes, they
Yeah.
did.
What is your name? What is your quest? What is your
Which
favorite
means
color?
for sure he had like his rage goggles on, but he couldn't.
You know what? I went Yoda on that one. But no, because I missed it. I don't have excuses. I just fucking missed it.
That's okay.
Yeah. So for people I don't remember those questions, it's from King Arthur going to the bridge, and then there's a gatekeeper at the bridge. I ask those questions, otherwise you cannot go through.
Yep.
And his soldiers go on the last question. What's your favorite color? They go blue. No, red. Wow! And they get thrown in the air. It's the funny shit ever. But I totally missed it. Totally missed it. I have no excuse.
You can't win them all, I guess.
Yep.
There's not a lot of room for subtlety in that, anyways. So my thing is, I was like,
It's
well,
a Monty Python joke. I should have
maybe
gotten-
he just read it and was like, is Tyler fucking illiterate?
No.
Like,
well,
you
actually,
know what I mean?
yeah. I thought you fucked that
It's
up.
like, what the fuck?
Heck.
Like, not a comma. What? This is
Yeah.
some South Dakota shit.
Yeah.
Get this out
I
here.
kind of, for a second there. No, that's why. Mea culpa, I fucked that one up. Yep. It's
I figured that Kayla got a question like, is this some country shit? Do you guys talk like this? I don't know.
I don't do words good.
So welcome back this week, I guess,
Exactly.
everybody.
Welcome back, Kyla, too. You were not there last week.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
you
been
were,
a few
weren't you?
weeks. You've
How's it
had more manly guests on.
Oh, yeah, we had.
We're gonna,
Andrew,
we're gonna
right?
have a pretty feminine lineup here.
yeah,
coming
which
up
one is
anyways.
next podcast, actually? Oh, no, I don't
Before
remember.
this one, they will have seen, most recently will have been Andrew, and then 2
Right.
of us in a row, and then Ray, and then
There's another one
you.
coming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We lose track, sorry, because we get a bunch of them at once, and then
Yeah.
we have a month in between, so I never know
Yeah.
if I talked about it on the podcast or not.
We also
Subjects get.
We also don't remember if we're still any good at this until we
Yeah,
get
that's
back
right.
in every
Yeah.
month. It's like, all right.
Okay, flex the
Equipment still
muscle.
work?
Exactly.
Do we-
After the first one, we're back at it. I'm normal again. But yeah.
I usually come back every month and I'm like, does Julian still like me? Do we get to still
Well,
do this?
we don't get to do it tomorrow because tomorrow I'm getting a tattoo in Paris. So
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
she's so
This will
good.
be the last podcast that doesn't have it.
It's called that all the way here. But like,
Just
oh,
in
she's so
time to
good.
go home and meet mom.
Your mom will love me. I'll have a neck and not face tattoo, but close.
Close.
They should go out really
If
well.
it gets into about the sideburn range,
Yeah.
they'll consider it face.
I know. I'm really thinking about going there. Oh. I like the looks people give me.
I like it.
As I get older, I like them even more. There you go.
So, what are we talking about today?
All right, so we have a few. We can go into the shorts because her story is fun.
Yeah.
Let's talk about first aggressive comments because you made that. So repeat the comments you made to me because I want to approach it a little bit.
Which one? From like the guy
That
last
lately
night?
I've been
or
a little
the-
bit more
Oh, yeah.
on the
So-
uptake than on the intake.
Yeah. If you notice, Julian's pretty good about actually explaining things when explaining needs to be done
Yeah.
on social media. You actually find anytime someone asks a question, it's a question that needs like explanation, not just like, when does this come out? What's the date for this? Just Julian answering those things himself. So that kind of, one, takes a lot of time from you, right? You know, so like simply engaging in it takes time. And it's not really of any benefit to you other than giving out the information. But with it being the internet, God, it's crazy. Some people are just dicks.
No, but plus, well, you know,
or I don't know what they're expecting.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
There's to me,
that's what upsets me.
And I'm okay with questions, actually. And this isn't even about questions, in my opinion, right?
They're not asking; they're making statements.
It's about statements to the bordering on just being disrespectful.
Not bordering, like some of them are.
I say bordering because it just is. Yeah.
No, but like, by the way, if you don't know. Okay, so I guess your mom didn't teach you right on that one to the guys like that, but there are ways to ask people questions that, you know, like you don't get to come and point your finger at us and say, how dare you? And I'm like, because that's basically what this is. I find it very disrespectful when we spend a lot of time doing those, right? It costs money, it costs time. Yeah. We're doing it for free to release all that stuff. And you have people coming at us from the comfort of their home just because they can type on a keyboard that look at it like we owe them something. That's that reversal of roles that sometimes get me upset, where we put all that stuff, we try really hard. It's very draining to do podcasts and stuff. If you guys think that's part of it, is they don't understand how hard it is to do. But like, you should go out there and do it so we can come and trash talk you on your stuff. But it's people that usually don't produce anything, right? That come and for whatever reason they think, because it makes me feel I'm exaggerating, but almost like a prostitute, in a sense of, we are out there trying to make money of the podcast, we're begging you for your attention, so therefore you have the right to come at us and say like, well, I don't like your shit, or how dare you do it like this, or basically do it the way I want. And I'm like, this is not what this is. We're not selling anything. You're getting all the stuff for free. You don't get to, like, you misunderstanding how this thing works, just because we're doing it out of the kindness of our heart, really, to put the knowledge out there for free. And don't get me wrong, I get a lot of you sending me awesome emails and messages saying thank you, thank you, thank you. So I still love all of you. It's just like, I am not okay with some of the disrespect that I see, not even toward me, sometimes toward Carl Friston or stuff like that. I'm not okay with it. Like, you don't get to act as that kind of a human being and not expect me to say something about it. I guess your mom didn't raise you right, but
plus, I don't know. I'm from a very small town where if you don't like somebody, there's plenty of people you don't like. But if you are going to go around just being disrespectful to the people you don't like, you're just not going to make it very long before someone kicks the shit out of you. No, you know, because that, in my opinion, not liking someone is one thing, and disagreeing with someone is one thing, but taking the step towards being like, straight up disrespectful. No,
this questioning and asking questions.
And that's the point where I'm just like, why? What use is that to you? You know, I just don't understand where that comes from.
Or bring value to the conversation. Give me if you're going to question my facts, give me factual information so that you can teach me something. Or to help me understand where you're coming from. Otherwise, there's nothing I can say to you that's going to help you see my point of view.
Exactly. So for example, there's a guy that goes into a long conversation, and you can tell he has a computer with Google right next to it, right? And first of all, it doesn't go well into Google, because again, I can find it under 60 seconds, that's when I get annoyed. And he said like, well, show me where magnetite is outside of the brain, because I can't find it. Literally, you go on Wikipedia and you read brain and méninge. Méninge is a French word. It's actually that space on your spine between the very specific where all the magnetite is. So it's magnetite causes the entirety of the CNS, which I said brain and spine. It says méninge. If you click on méninge, it sends you to another article from Wikipedia that tells you it's a part of the entire spine. So under 60 seconds, I found it. So one, I'm starting to get pissed. Then I explain it's electromagnetic, right, in nature. And then the guy says, well, because he read the article, because I can tell, and he says, well, it's electrochemical. But I'm like, it just means chemically producing electricity. Electricity is an electromagnetic force. That's physics 101. You learn that in, I don't know what, 8th grade?
I would say,
maybe? Seventh grade?
Yeah.
At some point. So I say electromagnetic because that's the nature of electricity. I don't care if electricity is being produced chemically. That's what they mean by electrochemical. But it's an electromagnetic force, and that's why the magnetite comes. So I'm trying to make a point based on certain stuff, but when you come and say, just use one word that you're just trying to prove me wrong, I guess. So this is not bringing any value to the conversation. It's like, this is not worth my time. So now I'm annoyed because I've spent some of my time trying to answer you to try to bring knowledge to the conversation, and you apparently either don't have any or not interested in sharing any.
And if you're arguing for the sake of arguing, that's one thing. But I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt that you're saying something that contradicts what we're saying because you know something we don't. Cool. So let's talk about it. Like, do it for the betterment of other people, not just because you feel bad about yourself and you need to.
By now, how do you think I got to where I am? Do you really think I just make shit up on a weekly basis as I go? That's where actually upsets me, because in a way I feel what they're saying is like, you know, pseudoscience or stuff like that. Like I'm one of those guys who thinks, you know, aliens, sometimes I feel like, is that, or at least, is that what you're saying?
I'm going to take care of this window situation. Yep. It's going to get a lot hotter in here.
Yep.
But I think they're running chainsaws outside now.
Something.
No, that's, you know what this is? They are unloading cars or shit like that.
Give me just a
second. 1 second, fellas.
And ladies.
Yeah. It's okay, we'll cut it off of the stuff. Yeah. It's going to get hot though. Oh yeah. Like, I swear they wait for us to start.
It's been quiet here until now.
Yeah.
That happens when I train too. The second I open that garage door, everyone's outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be for another reason though. That one, that might be for another reason, honey. I'm gonna have to go speak to the guys across because all those youngsters need to be explained. Speaking of respect, how life works on that one.
I did have a guy over there when I was training here with the door open one time. Was trying to be sneaky. He was like taking video from inside the building in there of me training.
That's a compliment.
I guess.
I'm sure they take pictures of her training, but not for the same reasons.
I've never
your eyes
seen
up,
that
yeah. Oh, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I see them staring. So that's where sometimes I get upset is because I'm like, by now, where do you think I get my information from? Like, you said, do you have studies? But I'm like, but I've already gave you the list of people you have to read, like the Schrödinger, the Carl Friston
and
stuff.
And you're choosing not to read them. So
yeah, you have not.
You don't want to know my point of view.
At some point, I'm gonna like, look, I'll talk with you if you read Schrödinger, Carl Friston, Dr. Porges, and then that's a minimum of where we start. That's the post I made about Albert Einstein. Like, you have to understand the history and philosophy of your field to be able to get away from bias. None of you are interested in any logical conversation. Every time, the same way they question me is on testing.
Yeah.
Have you tested it? Yes, I've tested it. Otherwise, why do you say I'm saying it? What is my angle? Promoting the invasion of the space people, like the lizard space people that take human. What is my angle? You think I'm doing this for just to promote StrongFit as a business? So I'm saying like
just
some outlandish
shit. As possible,
yes. Is that what you guys think I'm doing, or do you think I'm actually researching the shit and everything? And if you think I'm saying wacky stuff just to promote StrongFit, you should not be watching any of it.
Yeah. That's
go somewhere else. Then that means I'm not worthy of your attention and of respect, and you should go somewhere else.
And what I have a hard time with is that when I see things like that, is I will immediately, I don't really pay much attention to what specifically even they're saying, because I just draw right to where is this person even coming from, where they feel the need that you need to hear this at all.
Yeah.
That part's weird. But I think because when I think of it that way, when I see it, all I see is where they're trying to, what are you trying to do with this? And it makes me like people less.
No, but but it's someone knocking on my door.
Yes.
And I don't like it. Like, this is my house. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Well, and it negates all of our human experience. Like,
it does.
Julian tests all of these things on himself. And then naturally, you, Richard, myself, we all get roped into it. Like, I wouldn't wear these stupid neoprene things if I didn't have to, but it freaking worked. Yeah. And now I have to wear them. I don't like it, but I'm doing it. Or like, yeah, I know some stuff about nutrition. I know some stuff about training, but I'm going to try it, see if it works. Tell them if it doesn't.
But plus we have the conversation in the background where I explain every time where it comes from, and we try to get the different people to see if we can come up with actually an idea that's usually fundamentally the same, with just the applications are a bit different. Why do they do it like this? Can I do what I do better? Do you think all that shit doesn't go in the back? Like, this is just easy attack because there's no consequence to it, and I don't like it. And I understand that it's the internet in general, not us, but I don't know why I would allow it to happen on my porch. See, I use the southern thing.
Porch.
Not on my
like
porch.
But I fully agree. I think what it's also important for people, like you said, to understand though where we're coming from this, even in presenting this information, right? Because I envision what we do, especially with the podcast, really with everything that we put out for free of StrongFit. It's not just here, it's everywhere. But I envision what we sell to people, be it seminars, Coaches Week, the nutrition programs, all those things. The products that people pay money for are not about the information. That's the thing. We give away all of the information. What we sell then is working with you. And working, so if you want to work with us in the training group, you're paying for us to work with you on the version that works for you, and that we're working with you. We don't need to just jam information.
No. Look, if we go transaction, we don't even have to go that far. We have 12,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. We have, we had 30,000 people on Instagram. I asked one time, we're asking for the stuff for the fundraising, right? For Tom's heart transplant and everything. We got 300 people donating. Right, so we have 12,000 people on YouTube, we have 30,000 on Instagram. I ask people for $5. Clicking a button, putting $5 takes you 5 minutes. I've asked for $5, 5 minutes of your time. For all the stuff that we give for free. We had 300 people that did it. Bless all of you that did. By the way, you have no idea how much it means to Lauren and Tom, so that's awesome. But all the other ones that are getting stuff from us and not using 5 minutes of your time and $5, you want to talk about transactions? All right, let's talk about that one. Right, because I think we've put $5 worth of content out there for free. So I think if we're going to go transaction, all right, have you contributed to the Lauren fundraiser? Because if you're not, then you have no business telling me what I do with my money.
And at some point, that's where it's like, I'm also not interested in hearing criticism from you.
Exactly.
If you're absorbing all this information and you're consuming it for free,
you'd even take 5 minutes and $5.
One point that you disagree with, which means I know there's a pile of stuff that you're using. You're just picking the one thing that you don't like.
Because you watched the podcast for an hour before
and because then you can
in.
invalidate the messenger, and you can just keep the stuff that you like because that's yours now. And then off you go. And I just think it's kind of shitty. Or whatever. But my thing is this, we don't need to be paid for it, because I think all roads lead to Rome in the end, because we put enough information out there. When people want the us working with them thing, they'll end up there, and that's good. And that pays the bills. But what I think people don't get is the information we're putting out here for free comes at a cost too. You know, I mean, like Julian does have to pay me for the work that I do. And that me doing the work here comes at a cost. There's moving, there's family, there's time away, there's a lot of stuff. All stuff we're stoked to do.
Yeah, by the way, but we have to say it as well, because all the good stuff that we get, all the positive people out there, make it worth it. We'll never stop because of you guys. I just don't see a reason why I would not tell the fuckers out there to fuck off. That's all. So it's not even me bashing those people, it's just saying, like, you say something, I'll tell you to fuck off. Or kick you, delete you, block you, or whatever. Like, you're not gonna do that shit on my porch. That's all I'm saying. So you want to be the internet guy? Go at it. There's so many podcasts out there. You're just not gonna do it to us. That's all I'm saying.
Plus, don't watch an hour and 15 minutes of podcast to then bitch about the last 5 minutes of it.
Fuck off somewhere.
Because then if you're gonna go watch the whole next one, dude, go away.
No, but why are you spending time writing to us? Go away. Like, the guys have legitimate questions, bring it on. I love you all. Like, and I'll do this forever, so we're cool. But the people that are disrespectful, just understand that I will tell you to fuck off. So that's all. That's all I'm saying.
And you've said it before, and I think it's important for people to remember, because you have a family, we all have something else outside of this. Like, if you're going to take my time, like, make it worth it. Otherwise, you're telling him that the time that he spends with his daughter and me is not important.
And there's times where I'll have, honestly, if I'm going to get in any sort of discussion on the internet, right? That's it. I weigh the scales, right? Is this going to be dialogue, or is this just going to turn into a disrespectful situation? And if it's dialogue, let's bring it on for sure. Because I'll talk about being wrong, totally. Because I want to explore every avenue. I'm like, all right, let's assume then that this is all the case. Let's go through all the hypotheticals.
I do that all the time.
That's the way, I have always, that style of reasoning is the way that things have always worked for me.
That's a scientific way.
Yeah. And let's go through and let's rule out all the possibilities.
That's basically what Darwin said.
Yeah.
That's the correct way to do things. You eliminate all other possibilities, and then when you have, you know you're right.
Yeah. So, play nice, guys.
No, but it's, I understand that it's not, by the way, just us. I understand that it's the internet. I just don't agree with it. Yeah. So it won't happen on my territory.
Well, I think that's what's just because it's normal.
Doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean it's
right.
It's
not normal. It's just
it's not
common.
It's common.
There's a difference.
Normal.
Well, and the coolest thing that I heard today was when you're having these conversations on the internet or even in person, like. I think one of the best approaches is help me understand what would make you see this differently. Like, what is the information that gives you pause, or what is it that you're looking for? Like, have a better conversation. Don't avoid the conflict altogether.
No, what you say is, what could I say that will make you change your mind? That's a great question.
Yeah.
What information could I bring that you would go, maybe I'm wrong?
Yeah.
Based on that, or like I'll tell you the information that I discovered that I believe justifies what I say.
Yeah.
That I've always been willing to answer that one, always.
Yeah. How does I don't know. So how do we get from putting out a bunch of free information?
Yeah.
And we try not to worry about the negative stuff, and we try to just only stick with the positive feedback.
Yeah.
We get really good ones. We had really good ones coming today.
It's mostly very positive.
Somebody who had basically come across a coach who had been, learned from you and done the things, and the first thing they said was, said just listen. If you're going to trust me, he told the client, I need you to look into the StrongFit stuff and learn as much as you can. So that was like first. So she had to go through and absorb.
He gave her homework, which
all
is
of
so
the
smart.
information.
I like the way he did it. It was very, very smart.
Which meant it wasn't a waste of his time.
And by the way, she went through the Munich, the soccer, the football team, full Caro team, in order to fix her back and everything. And he told her not to lift.
Crazy.
Like stuff. I'm almost offended. Yeah, it was crazy. So how do we move forward? But one of the reasons also. I get annoyed when I get those critics is for the reason we're going to talk about. So how do we move the ball forward? How do we get that knowledge that we think is correct and put it into the world? Okay, so first of all, it's happening. Two different things. There's a number of people now that are using our stuff. They're just not calling it our stuff. So I'm not going to do names because the last time I did it with your PEC stuff, it turned into a shit situation, which I never wanted because I was never disrespectful to them. I think James Fitzgerald took it as an attack on himself, where actually it never was. All I say was the nervous system precedes the energy system. If you actually listen to what I said, that's the whole stuff. They took words and created a situation that wasn't there. Created a drama where there really wasn't. I was never disrespectful to them, and I apologized a million times for it. I even walked into that podcast setup that they had for me and apologized because I wanted to do it to his face, which, by the way, I'd sent him an email before that and say, I'm apologizing for a misrepresentation of what I said, not for what I said, because what I said was not wrong. I was never insulting them. I was never disrespectful. I just happened to use his name as an example of someone who deals very heavily with energy system in a very, very good way. So I was putting it on top of the pile on top of the food chain when it comes to energy system based training. So to me, it was a compliment that I was using his name. I was never, ever at any point meaning to be disrespectful. So that's why I apologize for the misrepresentation of my words. Okay, but since then, there's been fairly top people toward the CrossFit community that are full-blown using my stuff. I know because of someone else who's connected to them, who's been using it for years, and then he's been communicating that with them. So the stuff is moving forward. I'm not getting the street credit yet on it, because they're not quoting me or anything like that, but the fact is they are using it. So I think it would work a lot better if they would come directly to me so I could explain the stuff directly to them instead of trying to figure out what I say based on the podcast, certain things, because I do think they're not following it quite correctly.
Because I think there's so much of the things that you speak about require a massive amount of context.
I live with the man. I speak to him every day, and I still either find a loophole to try and jump through in what he's telling me to do, or I don't understand it. Like it takes me a couple of times talking through it to figure it out.
But as learning should go, right?
But that's what living with me is, right? So like you can tell her this is a world where she can never hide. Not even from herself. So it is extremely taxing. So, and I do this on a regular basis. So those people that have other stuff to do, right, look at my stuff as one of the many things they have to look into because they're busy as well. They're very high in their fields. They're doing great stuff themselves. So it's time consuming and energy consuming. So they have only a but a small portion of their energy and time can go to my stuff, which unfortunately is advanced enough that it requires a lot more than that to fully grasp. And so my point is ask me.
Yeah, and with an incomplete picture,
exactly.
You can take one piece of information. This is where everybody runs into trouble. One piece of information and you just spin it out of control with no context. And you can kind of use it except when it becomes your thing.
From what my friend was telling me, right now they're trying to piece together the stuff from 3 years to 2.5 to 2 and then put it together in chunks like that. You're gonna have a hard time doing that.
Yeah.
Like it's the stuff I'm talking about is like you have to be versed in different fields in order to be able to do that. So,
and we've already done all of that work for you, so just ask.
Just ask me. I'm more than happy to give it to everybody, and it's for free. Like I'll do it. Just street credit once in a while will go a long way. If you just said, "Hey, this is from that guy," I'd be happy. I don't need that. I don't need the credit. It would just make me feel validated, maybe not validated, but respected at least if you just said it comes from that guy. But basically everything, like I'll do a FaceTime call with those people at any moment, Skype call, like I did with Ray. Mm-hmm. The first time, like Coach Bergenert was asking me, like, would you talk to my coach Ray Regno? I was like, I'll do a Skype call right now. I spent an hour with him. And now he's on the mentoring program.
Yeah.
But I spent an hour with him like that for free, just like this. And I spent an hour because I wanted him to understand where internal talk was coming from, because I could see exactly that, where he was going to take very specific things of it. But
because he understood the little things too. He did get it, they made sense.
It's very smart. Yeah. But he didn't get the entire concept because I didn't have the time to explain to him fully. Mm-hmm. So I told him, like, I'm sweating already. I told him, like, give me an hour so I can explain to you the concept fully. Just on internal talk overhead, because it took me literally an hour to explain the concept overhead. And then he was like, oh yeah, I did not understand that. That's the problem when you take pieces of what I say and not the entirety. If you don't understand the context in which I'm saying it, you're gonna run into trouble. And so that's why those people just ask me, I'll do a Skype call, man. I'll explain to you my whole system for free. You don't, once in a while, if you want to put my name in there, it would make me feel like I'm being respected as a human being, because I am still a human. I like to,
it's the large scale problem of what we have on the individual level. Like I get a message from a gentleman who's like, I've been doing the nutrition stuff. I posted what Julian was eating for breakfast, avocado toast. And he's like, man, I would really love to have toast for breakfast. It would be a nice change up from the eggs. I'm like super tired. Yeah, because that's protein for breakfast. Yeah. Like, so they piece together what they thought they heard and they try it.
And you know what he said? That on the podcast, we say eggs were fat. I had 3 people say that. We never say eggs are fat.
I think actually the one thing we had said about eggs on the podcast was that somebody said that eggs were fat, and we were like, well, they have fat, but they also have a lot of protein.
Yeah,
so it's
and because of the way you digest it,
yeah,
it's seen as the system sees it as protein. So I'll say it one more time.
Well, you did probably say the words.
I did.
Eggs are fat, but if you zoom out, it's somebody said that eggs are fat.
Yeah,
not me.
So, exactly. So that's the problem, is they hear the stuff they want to hear.
This is small scale problem, right? Like you take this one thing, you manipulate it into working for you, and then really you're not doing this system at all. That's on an individual level. Now we take practitioners or coaches on a higher level that are reaching bigger masses. And if you manipulate something like their food intake or what their training looks like the problem becomes a little bigger, because now you're on the top of the hill telling the people around you to do something that's not exactly
and then
accurate.
There's lots of people then swinging in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the context in which I said it. It's like people saying, well, you say protein is fat. Steaks are protein, where actually if you look, it's 50-50 fat to protein, so therefore calorie-wise, it's more fat than protein. I'm like, that's true if you look at it in that context, but the context I'm looking at it is what does that mean digestion-wise? Yeah. Red meat is very hard to digest. The fat in it isn't. So the red meat is going to force you to go towards parasympathetic. So therefore, that's why I call it protein, because that's what's going to basically the hard part to digest is a protein. If you had just fat, it'd be easier to digest. It would not trigger such a response. So if you don't understand the context, though, you can look at it, see, or you don't know what you're talking about. The steak is mostly fat.
And I actually would say by the time that full scope of that context got fully established, there was maybe 3 full podcast episodes about that subject before that kind of gets settled in.
Because we had to go into the details. And that's the nature of a podcast too. This is still
also
episode
the
20.
system has to be used and experimented by many people before we're like, all right, so we've said protein, but things are lining up where it's more about just the digestive load. And then you're going to find that in the end that looks like mostly protein over here anyway.
No, because I didn't think I had to explain that part because I thought I had. Well, obviously I didn't, not correctly. So I'm learning also to explain the subjects properly. Because to me it was obvious that steak is protein in the sense of lean red meat is, not lean, but just red meat is hard to digest. So therefore but I did not explain the concept correctly. So I get where the confusion came from. But so all you have to do is ask the questions, hey, red meat has a lot of fat, how come? And then, but not come at me going like, it's more like, you have no fucking clue what you're saying.
You fucking quack.
Yeah, exactly.
Red meat's got fat in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was that. I was like, oh, okay, so I did not explain the context, it's all good, but I know red meat has fat in it, saturated fat most of the time.
So we've spent up until this point on the podcast talking about what people say when they think the things that you're talking about are crazy. Mm-hmm. Should we talk about some shit that's crazy now?
Oh, yeah, okay, so before we go there, the second point about us.
Can I tease that we're going to talk about some shit that you're going to think is crazy?
Yes, totally. Before we get there, second part of our message going forward is I just went to the Olympic Center and we are being given within the next few months for me to take care of the athletes of the gymnastic Dutch program who has gold medalist.
Nice.
They won the gold medal on the beam on the last Olympics and everything. So we're going to be in charge of fixing on the athletes, doing our StrongFit stuff basically for first the Olympic gymnastic Dutch team.
Awesome.
So we're going to do that. So the message is being around and it's working really well. So we're going to have a few Olympic gold medalists on the StrongFit roster, which I think is very cool. I'm wondering if I get any street credit out of that or if still doesn't mean shit.
I don't know.
I think if anything, it shows that your goal is to work with people. Like your goal is to make people better, regardless of what it looks like.
Yeah, Olympic athlete, grandma, it's all the same for me. By the way, I'm going to work with the athletes and their coaches, so most likely I won't get any credit.
He doesn't want to sit on the throne.
You won't see me.
And master the world.
I'm the guy in the back.
Can I wear a StrongFit shirt and just go to the Olympics then?
Will they give me flex a pass? And flex a bit.
Right. This isn't about you. It's about helping everyone.
I don't need the credit. And I told them during the conference, I don't need the credit. I don't care. Just let me fix your people.
Yeah.
Right. So now, if I can say it out there or put it on Facebook or make a post about it to say, look, StrongFit is going good, of course that'll make me happy. That's my baby. I've been creating it for years and years. And with all the shit that I take once in a while from some people, I would feel kind of good saying like, hey, look, I have Olympic athletes, fuck you. Because all the testing and you don't know what you're doing, it comes back on a periodic levels from people are really not doing that much. They have like 1% of the 1% of the 1%, and then they mouth off really, really loud. I get annoyed. So maybe I can put the gold medal on a post and be very passive aggressive about it, but really put a gold medal with a finger in it or some shit. Anyway, that's what I dream about at night. Revenge.
And
okay, so there
you just went up there though again last week, this week,
last Wednesday.
Last week, right on.
Last Wednesday. So I just got a message.
You got to go too this time.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It looked fucking enormous.
Oh man,
I was tired.
That's one. No, that's not the big one. That's a small one.
Yeah,
that's a small one. And by the way, they have a university with another stuff right next to it, and then they have the actual other, because that Olympic Center has the Winter Olympics, and they do gymnastic and judo. And then there's the other stadium, which is even bigger for all the Summer Olympic sports. So that's where I'm going next. I'm gonna own Holland at some point. That's my goal.
It was fun to walk through their training center where the athletes were lifting, and Julian's like trying to keep his mouth shut, but he's like,
I gotta just
get out of this room.
So did you see that guy's calves? Did you see his lats?
Yeah, no lats. Is that real? Yeah, no. Anyway, so that was cool. So that's where we're going next. So that makes me happy because I want the Olympic gold medalist, but I still want grandma.
Yeah.
Like I still want that lady who sent us the email this morning saying like her back was so fucked up and now she has been without pain for 3 months.
Yeah.
Equally.
Yeah.
That just makes me happy. Yeah. That's all. I don't need the credit. I don't need the credit, but then I get no disrespect.
Exactly.
Right? If I get some disrespect, then I need some credit to balance it out.
It is weird. My question, why in the world is a little bit of negativity seem to ring so loud though?
Because they are louder.
Weird.
Because they are louder. Because positive people, like the email this morning, like it takes, that lady wrote us like a full 3-page. Imagine how long it took her to write that. That's a lot of energy, that's herself.
That is the accumulation of years of fucking pain.
Yeah, and she made herself vulnerable to us by telling that we don't know. To strangers by telling a whole story and everything. It takes, God knows I get so many emails like that, and we never share them because I don't necessarily feel comfortable. It's their story, right? And they're already putting themselves in a vulnerable position, but those are the ones that keep me going for. Like that made me super happy to read this morning. It's just the loud people, the negative loud people, it's like a slap in the face sometimes. I'm like, and you have to understand where I come from. And it's MMA, it's jiu-jitsu and everything. Like I was the enforcer at John Machado's. Like you interrupted him twice during his explanation. You would look at me like this, I'm like, all right. And then I put you in the most, never hurt you, but put you in the most uncomfortable position ever for the next 10 to 12 minutes. Yeah. It's going to be the longest 12 minutes of your life.
Hang on, I'm working on this.
Yeah, and every time I'd be like, see, so now next time you shut up. Okay, because that's the way, because you don't interrupt the professor, because that's the way it is, that's disrespectful. And I get it, you're a white belt or a blue belt, you don't know, good, then we'll teach you. Yeah. And that was my job. Yeah. But because I learned too. I got my ass kicked, and Lord knows John choked me 3,000 times, because I was like, see, that's disrespectful. When you resist to me like this, that's disrespectful. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't know, but I know now. Yeah. All right.
And that's where I find.
But that's where I come from.
But what a little bit of hope that I see a lot though in these things is when somebody does come at you like that. My first reaction when I'm looking at them, I'm like, do I handle this one? And I'm like, I don't want to handle this one, because I just like, nope, I'm gonna Tyler this thing up. Like, nope, not gonna do it. And but that, so often then when you do come in reasonably, if you will, by the end it's like, oh no, I didn't mean any disrespect. I just wanted to. And it's like, okay, but then fix the tone in the beginning the next time.
That's all I'm asking is fix the tone in the beginning. Yeah. That's all I want. Yeah. So that's why I'm a little bit more harsh in my comments now, because I'm coming at it a little bit more forcefully, so people get nicer quicker. I understand that sometimes they don't necessarily mean it, but I'm like, dude, learn to talk.
Yeah, just pay attention.
You asking us for our time, learn to be respectful about it. If I'm asking someone, I'm always you don't see me comment on very, very, very little things. You never see me bashing anybody.
Right. We're all adults here, so we know what passive aggressive looks like.
Yeah, exactly. I don't do the shit, and I just want I want a nice tone to a conversation so that it's a pleasure for me to have. I don't want to waste my time stressing out. I don't like it. It takes away from my family, from playing pool, from thinking about StrongFit, from training. I don't want that negativity. It stresses me out. I don't want that kind of stress in my life. So, but at the same time, we do have a stuff we put publicly. I just want to define the rules. Yeah. Right? I don't need the credit, but then I don't want that tone. That's all. So that's why I've been a bit harsher lately, because I'm like, no, don't talk to me like this. Learn to phrase it better. So call me a snowflake if you want, sure. Yeah. Right, okay, no problem. But at the same time, you are getting all knowledge. I am not. I mean, there's a lot of people with whom I share information and stuff like that, and then we talk on the internet constantly because there's a communication. In this sense, it's us giving you stuff.
It's like when you go to someone's house that you don't know. Like there are courtesy things that you do. You don't go into their fridge without permission. You don't open up the drawers. You just.
That's all. That's all we're asking.
Matters.
Yeah. Exactly. Matters. Internet matters. I think as a species we need to learn it. Seriously, the internet is a rough place.
It's insane.
It's insane. It's fucking insane. Yeah.
Speaking of insane,
Russian trolls.
Kayla.
All right. So, do we start as to why I made you wear the Neoprene shorts, or you want to go straight into how it makes you feel?
I think you should explain why we wear them, because what I think people.
I kind of want to only say the possible claim that we're working on, and then what's happening, and then just leave it out there and let people shit on it.
Production.
With what we were talking, Julian and I were walking the other night, and I said, these people are piecemealing your stuff together. They're going to see us wearing this, and then they're going to suddenly see why you should wear your weight belt all the time, because they're going to associate these neoprene belts with weight belts as the same thing, because they're not going to pay attention enough to know the science of why. But
no, you know what podcast is coming is the peer review of that study. the melanocortin axis.
That will have been out by now.
Because no, it's this. It's tomorrow. Wednesday.
Well, by the time they hear this one,
it'll be out.
It will have been out.
So so let me follow up on that podcast. And so the idea was going back to the melanocortin axis. By the way, melanocortins are a set of hormones. And then, for example, so they link to the sympathetic nervous system. They will deactivate the parasympathetic in the brain parts, right? And then they will activate the sympathetic in the spine. So it's a sympathetic axis, right? While the hormone produced in the fight mode and stuff. So it's basically a sympathetic axis, right? And so I was like, all right, so what if I want to activate that axis fully? Why would I want to do that? Well, that's what the study was showing. It's, for example, there are sympathetic innervation, so nerves in the sympathetic that go all the way to the white fat, what is called the white adipose tissue. Sympathetic innervation goes all the way there. I was like, all right, so from what I was looking, also the melanocortin axis, basically that hormone basically cuts hunger and allows you to use the fat as energy. So how does that work? You got the hormones, they activate the sympathetic of the spine, that goes all the way to the fat and basically uses that fat as energy, right? That's what the study was showing, that and others as well. I'm like, all right, so let me get this straight. That means that there's a direct connection between the sympathetic system and the white adipose tissue. None of that on the parasympathetic side. The vagus nerve does not go to the fat deposit, but the sympathetic does through innervation. I was like, all right, so that means that if I were to fully activate the sympathetic nervous system, it will go directly to the fat for the fat to be used as energy. So all right, so now I take that on one side and I take the idea of spot reduction from bodybuilding on the other. If I were to be able to activate the sympathetic fully in an area, naturally I would use the white fat of that area as fuel and therefore consuming it more there. So now I'm starting to think maybe that's why spot reduction works as bodybuilders have been claiming it. Right. So, by the way, is that bro science? It's Tyler. What do I keep remember? I keep fucking up his name. Tyler Dyson, the black astrophysicist.
Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah. I can never remember his.
Every time you think black astrophysicist, you think Tyler.
Yes, exactly. Right. He said it. It is equally lazy to believe everything that you say and to deny everything that you hear. Sorry, to believe everything that you hear or to deny everything that you hear. It's equally lazy. To negate bro science is just as lazy as believing it. Right? You don't want to believe it. You want to study it, test it, and see for yourself if it works or not. So the bro science of spot reduction has been around for at least 70 years. All pro bodybuilders talk about it. You're talking about people that are extremely invested in their field, and extremely is a correct term, that have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years at a high level, right? And you're talking about thousands of them over 50, 70 years, all saying the same thing. Like you're telling me you're not going to listen to what is one of the biggest case study ever, right? Because it's bodybuilders. That is just as lazy as taking it just because they said that. And it is worth exploring. That's how science works.
And historically speaking, like you said, for many, many, many decades, they were the only people even experimenting on their own about any of this stuff.
They started nutrition. With no bodybuilder, there's no nutrition. There's no weight training right now. They make the whole needle go forward.
Well, and if all of you want to talk to me about macros and how the chicken and the broccoli and the rice is the way to abs, then if you're going to listen to them on nutrition, then why aren't you going to listen to them about muscle building?
Yeah.
Right? And they're the one who started the whole thing. And so, by the way, why would we listen to one study that has been done over 40 people over a 6 weeks period of random people? Usually we don't even know who they are because it's not written into the study.
Training history is kind of a fluffy maybe in most of those things.
We don't know if they're good or whatever. We don't know what they were eating before the study started because it's only 6 weeks. Stuff like so. I'm supposed to listen. This is God. This is a proof that it's right. But basically a study conducted over 70 years, over thousands of experts does not count because it's bro science. You're gonna have to explain to me how that is a scientific process. To me, it's extremely lazy not to look into spot reduction. Like, oh, that's not how the system works. That you understand, but now guess what? We're starting to look at the melanocortin axis, and that idea of spot reduction right now to me makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and plus, here's the deal. If, say, spot reduction as a concept is a thing that you can work on, we can be specific at. If I have a client who eats like shit and is lazy and doesn't train, maybe that's not the first thing I put on them anyway. You know what I'm saying? But here's why I think so much that stuff's easily dismissed in the bro science, because then what you have is the bodybuilding thing came up with this, and now you have people selling just a thing that's meant, just strap it around your waist and you're just going to lose some fat.
All right, but I'm not
But that's not what you're doing, and that's not what it is.
And by now, I think I should get enough credit from people to know that that's not what I do.
And you don't present any of this without presenting an opportunity to zoom back out now and see why.
And that's what I'm going to do right now. So we talked about it on that podcast about the melanocortin axis, but I'm going to explain my thought process. Again, this is logical argumentation, and we're doing the testing right now. So if you're going to attack me on my logical argumentation. So I want to activate the sympathetic fully, right? To get the melanocortin axis, to get to white fat being used. There's also brown fat, but anyway, that's another thing. To use fat as a source of fuel, so it's being burned. That we know happens in the melanocortin axis. There's no going around that. If you shut that off, we know basically fat mass is increased regardless of calorie intake. So this is not about how much you eat or how little you ate. It's not that. It's a pure activation of the melanocortin versus the vagus nerve will create fat loss or fat gain. That's just the way it is. Fat loss happens through basically the fat that is there being used as energy. I happen to be sympathetic innervation in it. So my idea is maybe, just maybe, we can activate the sympathetic of an area fully, right, to get that fat being used as fuel. So right there in a specific spot, and see if we can get on one side the fat loss in that area, so spot reduction, because that'd be an interesting thing to prove. And on top of it, if we can get a better contraction of the muscle, a better response of the sympathetic into that area would create, because we know the sympathetic and testosterone production and everything, we create an overall muscle building. So creating a sympathetic reaction right here to create bigger hypertrophy sounds like quack science until you look at occlusion training. Occlusion training, BFR, right, the blood flow restriction, right, creates hypertrophy of the muscle when you train under it. So that everybody knows, and then we saw increase of growth hormone and stuff like that. So you're telling me the only reason there's hypertrophy is because of the blood flow restriction?
Only blood flow and nutrients.
All right.
Chemicals.
By the way, yes, exactly. By the way, we don't know because it hasn't been tested enough. We just know it works. So when it's called occlusion training, it's accepted. When it's spot reduction, it's bro science. That's very lazy thinking to me.
And here's the thing too, is you talk about a sympathetic response. If you've ever done something as simple as occlusion training with just your bicep.
With a voodoo floss and everything.
Talk to me about what that feels like.
Exactly.
It feels like some fucking god-awful intense shit. And it is like, fuck.
Exactly.
My arm's going to rip out, get this thing off me now.
And so my point is,
like
the blood,
screaming.
Exactly. So my point is that maybe it's not just the blood flow, maybe it's a sympathetic reaction. Why? Because you're squeezing the shit out of the skin. It's very uncomfortable. It's creating a very strong reaction from you, a fight reaction, a sympathetic reaction. I believe the occlusion training works as well, not just but the blood flow maybe, but also because of that axis. Right, so I was like, all right, so if I'm right, there's another way to prove it. So we're gonna do not occlusion training, but something a little bit different. 80% of the weight of the sympathetic on the nerve is in the skin, or close to the skin. I was like, all right, so let's do something. Let's provoke a reaction at the skin, not occlusion type that strong, because it might be, by the way, it might be a bit rough to put a voodoo band everywhere and then go train. That sounds like a rough way of doing it. I don't think you can push too hard.
That's called bondage.
Rough one too. To do strong, I don't know about doing strongman work in a BDSM outfit with ropes everywhere. I might get some views out of internet out of that one.
Did you see Eddie Hall come out at, was it Giants Live a couple years ago?
That was disturbing.
He comes out in like a gimp mask and chains on it. And
that was very disturbing.
Eddie, where did this come? I don't even understand.
Like you've been doing too much juice lately.
I like the showmanship.
Yeah, that was a bit disturbing on that one. Anyway, like the whole game thing, like we can stay away from that one. And so I was like, all right, so let's do something less aggressive so we can train. Because the idea of that, this is a fight mode. Not the flight mode, but the fight mode. So I need to be able to attack the workout, and by creating a reaction on the skin, get a greater sympathetic reaction in that area. So I was like, all right, there's an easy way to do it. Weight belt, the waist belt, like the Neoprene waist, what is the waist trimmer, whatever it's called. Why? Because I wanted not just the heat, which also will make you freak out and create a reaction, but also the contact, that very, very annoying friction of the neoprene against your skin. Maybe some of you accept it, like Richard doesn't mind because he was a surfer. Me, he fucking drives me crazy. So you know what else we can use? We can use the neoprene shorts, which are 1.5 millimeter neoprene, or you pull on
scuba suit,
something like that.
Sleeves.
And you see what the arm sleeves. Same thing with, by the way, compression shorts or sleeves or whatever. They say blood flow. Yeah, you're also hot as fuck, and there's that continuous contact to your skin. That creates a sympathetic reaction. So my point was like, maybe it's not just the blood flow, it's actually the sympathetic reaction that causes water loss or fat loss or whatever you want to call it, because everything is a bit mixed on that one. And then hopefully get a better contraction in the area. Why? Because, for example, strength, we know it's three things. It's neural output, its skill, and its capacity to contract. Capacity to contract has to do with calcium and all that stuff. Calcium ions and all that stuff. But basically, by covering something like occlusion training, or in that case, neoprene, we create a greater neural output. So we create a greater strength capacity, and so we make people train into a fight. And so the idea was like, all right, let's put the wetsuit on, and let's train into a fight mode. Right? And because I've done that for years with strongmen, and now I realize why the second I put neoprene shorts, I felt stronger. Probably because in a weird way I was, because that allows me to increase the neural output, which is one of the conditions of strength increase.
Well, and if you ask people who, if they leave the gym and say, I couldn't get a pump, like I couldn't feel, it wasn't, they probably weren't sweating either. So I think they go hand in hand.
Did not go into that, right? So I was like, all right, so if I'm right, simple test. You take the waist trimmer, you put it on your waist, and you go do something to target more locally. Like, so for me, I do 400 meter true form sprint, 20 GHD sit-ups, 15 cal on the air dyne. 2 rounds as hard as I can. Now, what is very important is this, is the as hard as you can. Because if you don't go into fight, it won't work. Those hormones are released into fight, not into the flight thing. That's different. So if you don't push, if you just do 20 minutes kind of lazy.
You need to attack. You can't pass.
You have to attack. And by the way,
you'll know if you're sweating, whether or not you're doing it.
Yeah, you have to be like, when the sweat starts to drip down your leg and you go, this is fucking disgusting. You have to
describe most of what my life is.
Exactly, right.
Sweat dripping down my leg.
Yeah, it has to be something where I need to take the shit off.
Yeah.
Like literally, like, when you're ready to put the shorts down and appear ass naked in front of everybody because you just can't. The reaction I'm looking for is that.
Or you start to cry.
Oh, wait, that's the best part. Don't say it yet. So I'm looking for that kind of reaction where you're like, I need to take the shit off right now. That, basically, you do that, right? You take it off, wipe yourself, trust me. By the way, very good way, once you have the neoprene short and the belt, you put it in the dishwasher for 30 minutes with full steam. It actually works.
Like, you wash them all the time?
Whoa.
Fuck yeah!
Do you really?
Yeah! What is wrong with you? You're gonna look like a fresh homeless guy.
My Reband warm pants.
Oh.
When you look for the shorts, you tell me Reband.
That means you have to buy one every 2 months.
No. I wash them.
Or you smell like Doritos.
Listen,
they're like a homeless person.
They're not the best, but they don't get washed after every use.
Oh.
There's no way.
Julian's got a different kind of sweat.
So immediately they get turned inside. It's just like regular knee sleeves, right? You wouldn't wash your knee sleeves after every use. But I also don't want
But I
also don't want my stuff smelling like my knee sleeves.
Yes, you wash your knee sleeves as well.
I suggested.
Do you really?
Yes, you do.
That's insane.
No
way.
No. Or at least you put that diving suit stuff where.
Every time?
Okay, what you can do.
I suggested just not wearing them as much. But
there's a diving suit that is a bacteria killer where you just soak it in for 5 minutes, you let it dry.
Yeah.
And then it kills the bacteria at least.
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, you.
Listen,
anyway,
let's not get into my hygiene.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to get any better the further we dig.
Because we just found something. Anyway, so the idea was you wear the waist trimmer, you do into that workout. Tell me the difference one day to the next. And we've seen some sizable difference photos. So what we saw is a loss of water, fat, whatever you want to call it, it's up to you. And some definitely increase in tone, in muscle tone.
Yeah. So even if it's water, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Let's just say it's water. If you look and appear leaner, and your goal is to look and appear leaner, then you fucking won the game.
But
right?
if it's only water, like Kala, we tested that. We put the waist trimmer all the way up to the belly button, right? And we checked the next morning, and she was leaner all the way up to here.
Okay.
We have the picture. Yeah. It's literally, this is linear.
So it's not general water loss then. It's either very local water loss or local fat loss.
But it's not local. It's the whole abs got linear even though the bell was below. So it can't be just water. It's because the whole abs got activated through the fucking heat and contact.
It's more of the muscle group entirely.
And and the muscle soreness is quite significant for me too.
Yeah.
When I
because of going at it harder on the connection. So I'm sure they'll come up with some very beige reasons as to why it works. But the fact is, this is the logical steps that I followed. We tested it, and then it worked super well. And then from there, we went neoprene or full. Me, I have the full legs for the scuba suit, and I'm going to do leg or deadlift workouts in it to see if I get a better activation of muscle. And that combined with doing deadlift with the left hand supinated, my left glute has been cramping after every single session. And so it creates a reaction that is obviously it makes you freak out and everything, but you go freak out when you go full flight. If you stay in fight, I believe it will get the melanocortin axis going, which is fat loss and better contraction of the muscle. So now, sometimes you do freak out. Let's go into that part.
Well, I thought that Julian said that if you had trouble contracting the muscle, you should wear them. And so
yes, I said that as well.
Of course, I don't have any trouble.
That's all she heard. Yeah,
finding any muscle.
Like, well, I don't need to do this.
So
that's exactly what she said.
It was deadlift day, and I'm starting, and Richard's like, "Wear your shorts." I'm like,
she's like, "I don't have to."
He said that I didn't have to, so it took me about.
Because I'm the best.
Yeah.
No, because it's like every muscle is working correctly. I don't need to. I'm like, that's not what I said. I said every time you wear them, so you can better contraction.
So
And literally, she sounded like, that's not what you said. but you said that. And she went into that full thing. I'm like, just put the shorts on.
The first time I put the shorts on, it took me 10 minutes before I stood up.
Really?
To move.
Almost like they're squat briefs or something?
I texted him and said, I can't do this.
Yeah, she texted me. I have the text message saying, I cannot wear those. I'm like, yes, you can. Yes, you can.
And I was really sore. So it's like PTSD.
I
knew it was going to happen.
Look either.
It's not cute,
like
but at least.
Skin tight neoprene these aren't booty shorts looking things. These are
they're
like almost knee length.
And
it's like the worst length.
They bend in the wrong places, so it makes you look like your ass is wide, but not. Yeah, that is not looking
I think
good.
it's a trick. But I threw a fit for like 10 minutes and I put them on. And I was doing fine. In my mind, I'm like, stop it. Don't freak out. Just like feel the muscles. Stay focused. Don't freak out like you did last time. And I'm almost finished with my workout. And I'm doing walking lunges with the safety bar and carries. It's like the last thing that I have to do. I'm so hot. And my glutes are like, you could probably start a fire. Like that's how hot it is.
By the way, speaking of that, my left was warmer than my right. Like when you wear the shorts, pay attention and you'll see that the side that doesn't fire as well will be hotter.
My right side was hotter.
And the right side is the side where we have problem with. Yeah, that's why. It's very, very interesting.
So it's down and back. And on the way down, I'm like, these have to come off. I can't wear these anymore. Like, I'm about to cry just thinking about it.
And you think those guys on the street got the cameras out before?
Well, the only thing I can think of is if you take these off, they're not going to let you keep on exercising. Like that means you're done.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be done. Yeah. So
I want to be done.
I'm walking and I'm crying because I'm freaking out and like just tears coming out of my eyes. Not because the weight's too hard or my legs are too tired. I'm so hot and uncomfortable.
I just don't want to do this anymore.
But by the time I turned around, I had pulled it back together, probably because they would have seen me. And I was able to finish in a good way. But I mean, they're uncomfortable. I don't like it. It's hot. It makes me really sweat. But the recovery for me afterwards is a lot. Like to the point where
it's pretty taxing.
I'm not training twice in these things.
It's very taxing.
And I can feel that I've done more work. Like I've done volume sets of heavy lifts before and was able to do something after. This is different.
This is where people are going to say the reason you are so tired is because you sweated so much because of the rebound, and then the water loss is just taxing your system, but you're actually not doing more work.
Go try it.
But if that's true, then being in a sauna will make you lose weight. We all know it works the first 2 times where you lose water and then water comes back. By the way, if you take a sauna, you're leaner then, you go the next day, maybe one time it works, but the time after that, the next day you've gained all the water back. So you're gonna have to explain to me that one, whereas every time we wear the stuff, the next day you're leaner.
I do sauna on recovery days sometimes, and my weight is almost exactly the same the next day.
So how do you explain that the sauna works, let's say once or twice, and then after that because the first 2 times you're very hot, so you create a sympathetic reaction. Once you get to the heat, you sweat a lot, but it does not affect your body weight. Otherwise, all the fat people in it would get leaner just by being in the sauna. Just sweating does not make you leaner. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to read on me all the stuff. And by the way, now like on all cases, we have about, how many people we got doing the shit now? At least 20, 30 between the groups and the mentoring program.
Yeah.
Like all of them have reported the same thing. The muscle that they have problem fires better in those conditions. We had Andrew, like the rugby player. He told us like the right external obliques into the right glute is basically cramping every time, and it takes him a lot to recover. This is someone who plays 80 minutes rugby in the sun, in the summer and stuff like that. He has no problem sweating.
A lot of years.
Yeah, he has no problem sweating and everything. It's not the sweat. It's not like, because they're gonna say stuff like, well, you're forcing a sweat response, that's what taxes the system. Fuck no. It's because again, like my left glute right now, which the left side has been more of an issue, is responding quite strongly to the shorts. Like it gets warmer a lot on the left versus the right, and also my left outer quad. Right, those are the 2 things that respond, that get very hot. The rest doesn't. So I'm touching on this side and this well, and yet it doesn't do anything. And then I can tell you the contraction is, by the end, I'm cramping for an hour on the left, like deep, like the level of contraction is not the same. So increasing the level of contraction and the normal output is literally part of the definition of strength.
It's given me a competition setting type feeling without having to be in.
That's another very important part.
In terms of recovery, and also just the discomfort, like actively feeling this thing that I don't want.
It's like having a fucking ticking clock running. You're like, fuck.
But that's important because we talked about raising the C game, right? We did a podcast on that one, didn't we? Maybe not.
Somewhat, yes.
I think so. Yeah, anyway, that's part of raising the C game, because I'm going to put you into a situation that normally from a neurological level you would be only facing in competition. That over sympathetic response that your body has in competition because the bear is coming. We're going to recreate that with a neoprene. I'm going to put you in such a strong reaction that is going to mimic what a competition would do to you. You know, like sometimes a competition, like you do it and it's less work than your training, and yet you're wrecked for 5 days because you did the work in a different condition, in a different state, right? Because you push harder and you put so much into it. It's like gassing out in workouts you should do well, and yet that one is much harder because your state is different, right? So by recreating the state, I believe we'll be able to make you better in competition, because you're going to train like it's a competition. And so even though it is not, to your neurologically speaking, it'll be closer because of the strong reaction we're gonna promote. So that's raising your C game. It's like using only nose on conditioning. It's like the way I practice for pool right now, which works really well because I've learned to practice in a way that benefits my game under the gun.
Yeah.
So I've changed the way I practice, exactly in that the same idea as that, in order to practice to get better under the gun and not the other way around. Like practicing and have fun and hoping it carries under the gun. No, I'm practicing to be good under the gun now.
Because if we had almost any other type of external stressor that made you that
You'll freak out.
uncomfortable,
yeah,
like if
you'll
it was
lose your mind.
Whether the music you listened to stressed you that much, or anything.
You don't understand how much you stress.
Like that would fucking break you pretty quickly.
But that's what I did. So,
because it's too much.
Every day that I have to train, I've tried to find at least 2 or 3 excuses to not put the stuff on.
This morning, she threw a tantrum.
Not even consciously thinking of it. Like for some reason, I'm like, well.
I mean, it's this morning.
No, full-blown tantrum. She was like, I'm not wearing the shorts today.
I can't fit my belt over top of the shorts.
Yeah, and then she was like, I'm not going to wear them.
Yeah, the weird button thing's weird. It doesn't work well with the belt.
Yeah. But she was like, I'm not going to wear them.
But something really cool that Julian said while we were at the Olympic Center stuck with me. And that's why I think I keep talking myself into wearing them anyway. He said, you train in practice, I'm this person. And in practice, I'm Mike. In training, this is how I train, and this is Mike shows up. And then I go to the game and a totally different person shows up.
Then John is there.
And I don't know how John performs.
Because John hasn't trained.
Because I rarely go to that place when I train, and now I have this whole new body that I'm not going to be able to coordinate, and things are going to go wrong. So now I have.
We've all been there. Like I've been there on a pool table. We all been there where literally Mike trained and John showed up, and John does not know what he's doing. Well, you're like competition going like, where the fuck did my training go?
Yeah. And then immediately all of your positive expectations start slipping away.
Oh, that's a hard feeling.
You're like, wait, why didn't this work?
That is such a hard feeling. Talk about a soul-crushing experience where in competition you realize none of your work actually matters.
And everyone does that superficially with like I'm going to do my pull-ups with a weight vest, or I'm going to do like something as simple as the neoprene actually makes you do the work in your training. So there's, first of all, there's the physiological, logical impact, but also the putting you into that state of constant discomfort of I need to take the shit off, or like just pushing the sympathetic a bit further. That takes you places. Which honestly, I had a hard time doing on my own. So if this is working for me to teach me that skill, like maybe there will come a time where I don't have to wear it.
So is there that's actually what
Nice try, honey, but you're not skipping that one.
That's what I'm just getting to, is like, let's say that Kayla does get to the point where she can carry that over then and can train without the extra added stress.
No, because there's still the part of muscle not firing correctly.
That's true.
There will always be some. By the way, if wearing the shorts make you fire the muscle a little bit more. What the fuck was that?
Fucking ice cream, man.
Is it the train going by?
No, ice cream truck, they come by.
There's an ice cream truck right now outside.
I thought this was
are
like
you
a
timing
chop
those,
shop
Tyler?
for stolen cars. What the fuck is it?
I still think it is. So they're stealing ice cream trucks now. Are you timing those to make sure we have the most weird noises out?
I have no idea.
It's literally an ice cream truck. So if it was a SoCal, it'd be the taco truck, but here we have the ice cream truck. Yeah. It's awesome. Shit, where was I?
We're talking about if she can
right. Yeah. If I could find something that allows you to contract the muscle better, if you guys understand what I mean by better, like create a greater contraction of the muscle, why would you not use that?
Yeah.
Right, because it's on your way to, again, it's part of strength. What if I could make you wear something that elicits a stronger response in you? Right, it's a bit why people use steroids.
Yeah.
Not we, but steroids out there because it gives you better results for the same amount of work.
Yeah.
Right? It allows you to do more work. Well, that's basically what the bell does. It puts you into a fight mode. So now.
So maybe the goal isn't for Kayla to someday be able to throw them pants away for the last time, take them out for the last. Maybe the goal is for her to not just not hate them as much. But the problem is
I want her to hate it every single time. Yeah, exactly.
But by nature.
Otherwise, he's saying the goal is a 400-pound deadlift. I seriously doubt that by the time we get to 400, she'll want to stop there. Then what do? You stop training?
Yeah.
No, so the point is to move forward.
So the goal is to just keep pushing it uphill.
The point is to train in fight.
Yeah.
So if he allows you to be in fight, then fucking use it.
Yeah.
By the way, and some muscles are still not activating properly, so we can use also the neoprene for that.
If you can elevate your worst of times, then when it's time to perform,
elevating your C game. You need to elevate your C game. This is what this is. So now when you have that, you do that with nose breathing on heavy shit. That's the video I posted with the sandbag carry, like the 250 there and back. I was doing it with the scuba suit on, plus the neoprene shorts, plus nose breathing. My hammies, finally, on the last few meters, I'm giving up because of my hammies and not anything else.
Yeah.
So I got to maximum hammy fatigue, which I usually don't get to because I was before. That one I didn't was out, and I stayed nose, and my hammies blew up. That's the point. The point is we're going to raise your C game to the max because it'll raise your B and A game. You don't get to pull the A game up. You raise the C game.
That's the thing that I hear actually is pretty common among people who are fighters.
Yeah.
Is that you do not get to train in hopes that you're going to fight this person on your best day. It's just not how it works.
It's not how it works.
You never are ever walking into a fight feeling your best. It's just not the fucking way it works. So your goal is you have to, like what I was talking about, you got to move your center or elevate your B and C game to the point where you can smash this fool on your worst day.
Exactly.
That's the only way you can actually control whether
if you want to go confident into a fight, you know that your C game is better than his A game.
Yeah.
Then you're fine.
Yeah. But
then you'll be confident.
Until then, you're beholden to what.
But that's why you train tired. This is otherwise. If we start to take the shit off, it's like saying don't train tired.
Yeah.
Right. Except if you're a fighter or you're in competition, you better learn to train tired. So example for strength sports, powerlifting. If you have never benched after a heavy squat, you don't know what it feels like. But let me tell you, I've seen at almost every competition, the guy who on his third attempt gets a PR on the squat, fucks up his bench press on his third attempt. It's almost every time. Why? Because it takes so much out of your upper back that you cannot use on your bench press. And it was Larry Wills, who was a good 40, 50 pounds below his normal bench press because he had a PR on the squat. That PR on the squat will take weight off your bench press. Why? Because your upper back is tired. That's how this shit works.
And that's why every time when I look at powerlifting, deadlift world records, you have to pay a lot of attention to
if
did they happen in a full meet or was it deadlift only? If it's still sanctioned meet and they went deadlift only, that record's still fine, I guess, but
it's not quite the same.
It's not within the context of that sport. It's
not Ed Cohen doing 880 at 220 at the end on the fourth attempt for his deadlift. So by now he's at like 9 attempts or 10 attempts.
Yeah, because I think they would give you a fourth.
It's a fourth attempt by then, but I think he did it on the squat as well. He might have done it on the squat. So that might be his 10th or 11th attempt. And by the way, he benched 550 which takes a lot out of your lats. And right, but that's why you train tired too. Because if you train the lifts separately, to put them together in a meet is not simple.
No, not
because
at all.
Of that.
The amount of actually guys I know a lot of guys who are really, really exceptional deadlifters, and they always come to that point where there's a reality check in a powerlifting meet.
Yeah.
Where it's like they get to the deadlift, which is the thing for these guys that are deadlift aces. Yep. Man, they've been waiting on this thing for months.
And they don't feel good.
They're fucking smashed.
Yep.
And maybe they went 2 for 3 on the bench, so that's in their head and their body's a little smoked. Like missing a max effort bench is fucking harder on you than you think. And don't even start on missing a squat. If you don't go 3 for 3 on the squat, that deadlift is going to be.
Yeah.
And if you go 3 for 3 on the squat, that deadlift's still going to be a problem.
Yeah. And by the way, the when you miss that attempt, it's not on the way down.
No.
It's still on the way up. So you still had to eccentric the shit out of something that is usually the most weight you've ever taken on the squat and the bench. On the bench, it takes a lot of upper. So now you have smashed your upper back on the way down on the squat and then on the bench. Your lats are smoked. And now your T-spine is going to have to take that massive deadlift. Until you've tried. The shit is not easy. So it's the same idea, right? So she's never going to take the shorts away, ever. So she'll have tantrums, exactly, and I want her to hate it every single time too.
You'll be sponsored by Ray-Ban, at least.
But you know what? In the meantime, it's working. Squat is better, deadlift is better. So instead of loading the back, she's loading her position instead of being super arch all the time. Now is where we want. It's working. It's just so fucking uncomfortable, but. That's kind of the point, though. It's a sympathetic reaction, like the fight mode. Who said the fight mode was comfortable?
Yeah, I want game day to feel better than training.
There's that too, by the way.
Is game day when she takes it off? Shorts for game day?
She can't. The neoprenes are illegal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
If you're doing powerlifting.
Yeah, she wants to do powerlifting competition. So game day is going to be a lot easier than training day.
Yeah.
And by the way,
maybe you should just wear them around in the back room. You used to.
Well, but because you wore the ribbons, did you feel stronger on the ribbons?
Absolutely.
On the squat?
I actually really.
Richard, you too, right? Did you feel stronger on the ribbon shorts when you squatted? I always thought they added like 5 to 10 pounds to my squat. Like Sam was like, you're cheating. I was like, how? There's no fucking way the 1.5 millimeter of neoprene can help you lift more. And I felt stronger every single time.
No.
With or without them, it's not the same.
I always justified it in that it felt like it just kept my hips and glutes warmer, which meant they worked a little better.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
what I felt was
I've squatted in 35 degrees Celsius weather. I didn't change a shit. Yeah.
And
I'm
so
not having this experience.
You're not.
No, I don't feel stronger. I don't feel happier.
Man.
I didn't wear knee sleeves because that it was too constricting to me.
I don't know. Maybe
She's a CrossFitter.
I'm just much more used to being really sweaty and gross. So I'm just like, yeah, bring it on.
And maybe it's because we all done it for years and years and years. Me, I like it. But I
do. I had a couple guys that I competed
as long as you
against,
wash them every day, it's fine.
Wore them in a competition one time, and they didn't tell me anything groundbreaking about them. They were just like, yeah, I don't know, I kind of like them. And I was like, well, I am looking to buy some things. You know how it is with training. You're like, can I buy some things that'll make me better? Like a CrossFitter, buy a new jump rope to make sure you get dubs. You know, it's just whatever. Try a new rope. So I bought them and just started using them like most things, like just because other people did it, I guess. And I came to really, really enjoy them. The problem is depending on the place you're training in, It's always not like a man in only neoprene undies type of
Put
environment.
shorts on top of it. It's all good.
That's not how I go, though.
Well,
we're just gonna do it.
I wore my.
That's what we're doing. We're doing it.
I wore my wetsuit to bench and do upper body, which was a much better experience than the shorts. And I'm like, man, I didn't think about having to go to the bathroom in this thing.
Ooh.
Richard's like, you don't have to go to the bathroom. You're just trying to quit. like,
like, you guys need to stop tackling me.
Well, there are varying degrees of having to go to the bathroom, and you might have just broke into it.
Yeah.
But you're like, this is the time.
No, but you don't understand. Like, she's throwing tantrums over this. Like, this literally, like, in the middle of the day,
Andrew's
she's like,
telling me
I
if
don't
I'm
want to
freaking
wear
out,
the shorts again.
calm down. They're telling me to put on more
she's
clothes.
Falling, like, full-blown tantrums, man. It's so funny. This has to stop now.
Every time, ever since Andrew said that, if you feel like you're gonna freak out, just calm down. You need to calm down.
It's the best one ever. We need to make a meme out of this or something. Marcus, make a meme.
And I can picture Kayla just lugging a sandbag around the parking lot in neoprene shorts, just going, "Fuck you, Andrew! Don't fucking tell me to calm down."
Well, no,
you calm down.
She's going, and
I'm usually a pretty stoic human being. I can go through some stuff.
So she comes home and she looks at me a certain time and was like, I was like, was it hard? Like, I don't like it. I'm like, I know, honey, but let me explain to you why it's good for you. It's like, I don't want to hear it. I just don't like it. And then we go into that 5-minute conversation. It's like, I still love you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She does not like the shorts. But welcome. By the way, people have to understand. It's a bit rougher. Like being on the what do you call that? Huh? On the spectrum with the whole texture thing. Oh, that makes it interesting. Yeah. Like there's some moments where it goes really high. I tried to play pool with a sleeve, like a compression to see. I started missing. That did not go well.
Yeah.
That thing flew off real fast.
Seems like just input noise a lot.
Yes.
For you.
But exactly. But I'm like, I'm gonna wear this shit.
But that's also what, if you're in pool, that's the thing that fucks you up is shit starts going on.
Exactly. So I'm gonna wear this and practice at home and make it fucking comfortable so that I don't pay the price under the gun.
Pool hall's air conditioned.
Yeah. It's not that. It's. But
no, I'm just saying. I'm never coming to watch it.
No,
last time was a big warm. Yeah, because there were so many people, I guess. Yeah. So they're not used to it, right? Last time was a big warm.
I always wondered that too.
But it wasn't that.
Like if you get in there and you're just like, oh fuck.
No.
Does that mess you up?
It wasn't that. Me, it was just, it's the noise, it's so many people, and it's the pressure of the situation. Yeah. No, it wasn't any of that. Like, that's not a spectrum thing at all. It was just, if anything, it's too much.
That's a
too
training
much stimulus.
Versus,
But that's just me was not practicing correctly. It was just me. For example, like I realized that the other day I was doing strongman with the neoprene and everything, and I get to a point where literally like the first time, because now I'm back into training to be as strong as I was, or close to it, right? Because I'll be a bit lighter, but I'm gonna keep the abs. But I was like, I told her that like a few weeks ago, did certain works, and I suddenly clicked in my head. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go back to circus strong, like like the really fucking heavy shit, right? Okay. And I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna go back to training super hard, and then I do strongman. And did you have a moment again?
No,
you had to check everything.
No. I did have to check it. I'll explain when I get in here.
And so I'm halfway through the yoke carries, and I'm back to that moment where you want to lay down in a corner and cry a little bit, like like this is heavy. But you're like, oh, I'm starting to get really tired now. And something in my head just literally went, oh, good, training starts now.
Right.
And then my energy went skyrocketed, saying good, because I couldn't wait to get the voice to tell me to quit and be a little bitch in the corner and cry. I was like, thank you, I've been waiting for you. And then I did 4 or 5 sets after that. Everything went heavier. I was like, cool. So that I don't have on the pool table. That moment where I'm like, good, training starts now. I realized on the pool table, that's when I quit.
Gotcha.
That's when I go, yeah, I'm going to go home and cry. Or at least be passive about it. Be like, no, I'm not going to cry. I'm going to keep on playing. But that's not the same. That's not the same as good. I'm going to smack you in the face so hard for talking to me. No, it's more like, all right, so I thank you for telling me that, and I'm going to stay here and keep playing. But
the enduring.
Totally.
Yeah.
I don't have that voice on the pool table, and that's why I started like, I'm going to change my practice. I'm going to practice until I want to quit, and then I'll start my drills.
Maybe we should wrap up on the enduring thing, because we haven't mentioned that on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And so before we go into that and wrap up.
Yeah, by the way, that's part of the Neoprene. That's a very good point.
Do you want to know why I had to get up and look? Because I traveled today and my extra batteries weren't charged. Oh. So, and we're running a little long anyways. So okay. I'm like,
Again?
I better check.
Yeah.
So
okay,
they're still recording.
We get so excited when we haven't talked to each other.
All right, so let's do real fast on doing versus enduring, because that brings the point of the neoprene fight. When she cried, she was enduring. So what's the difference between doing and enduring? What, the fight versus the flight? If you look, fight versus flight can be a little bit of a misnomer. It's really hunting or being hunted. Right, that's what it means. So it's doing versus enduring. So let me ask you that. What's when you do a workout? So are you doing the workout and during the workout? What I mean by that is, are you hunting the workout or is the workout hunting you? That's the question. When she started crying, it's because the shorts were hunting her. And I was like, no, go hunt them. Go into the discomfort willingly. So when I train, I hunt that voice that tells me to quit. On the pool table, I was hunted by it. That's the difference between doing and enduring. So at the pool tournament, I was enduring on the table instead of doing. Right? And when I train strongmen, I don't endure. I do stuff. I look for the voice that tells me. I train until I quit, then I start my training. So I was like, all right, so I'm going to practice like that. I'm going to practice doing, not enduring.
Yeah.
So that changed my practice. And by the way, in 3 days later, I played my coach for money and won the first game. Because suddenly the way I practice applied on under the gun, whereas before it was just crushing me.
Did he raise the stakes after that first game?
No, because he gave me a handicap.
Because I figured.
And that handicap just got.
Listen, I don't know pool, but I watch Pool Sharks movies.
No. It's,
and they always
my
give you
coach.
one game.
No, it's not that. He's just like he gives me a specific handicap.
Got you.
And my handicap just got smaller.
Got you.
So I'm not gonna win the second one, so it's all good.
Gotcha.
All right, so let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up, guys. That's gonna do it for this week. Let's take care of some business here.
Julian's Corner will be up soon.
It will be.
Julian'sCorner.com.
Is Julian'sCorner.com, right?
Yep.
Perfect. So Julian'sCorner.com. Really cool. That's where for anything from seminars, coaching, one-on-one stuff.
For the one-on-one, just me.
The one-on-one.
If you want one-on-one,
if you want
with me,
Julian time
private
stuff,
coaching stuff like. And then there's also all the stuff on the side where I talk about the books that I read, the jiu-jitsu, the pool, the Aya, the family stuff, all the other stuff. Me.
Yep.
As a human, I don't want to have my space where I can do all that because it's not necessarily a StrongFit stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why all the coffee shops I went to, the gyms, all that stuff. It's
awesome. Cool. So Julian'sCorner.com. That should be up by the time this is out. I would guess. So everything else, StrongFit.com, StrongFitEquipment.com. That's where you're going to find some. Even at StrongFit.com, you can get to the equipment there. But that's where you'll find seminars, the workshops. Sandbags, apparel, all that stuff. If you're in Europe, strongfitequipment.eu. If you're in Australia, Manta Fitness. What else do we have?
OK32.
OK32.
On Instagram.
He's StrongFit1. I'm Tyler F. Stone. Rare Barracuda's over here peeping from the floor. So, God, I think that's got everything else. We've handled most of the housekeeping.
Hopefully we didn't fuck up anything.
We'll get the rest of it out tomorrow. So, thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you next week.
Next time you see me, I have a new tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Teaser.
Exactly.
I got to a panic. I was like.
That's because I'm.
And he called me fat the other day too.
He didn't mean.
I did not say that.
He said fatty.
Well.
Okay.
I said I'm hungry.
He
said, of course you are fatty.
That's a hard one.
That's not how he went.
Okay. Well, here's the problem.
No, I'm gonna say, hey, fatty, give me some.
Here's what I believe. If in a relationship, sometimes you just have to walk into some buzzsaws because you know that that's the funniest word to use.
Okay, so I was a bit sparkly that day, and I might have said once or twice, like, look, like I want to do this, and since you weigh 175, you could help me by.
None of these things are good ideas.
No.
But if it's the funniest.
At that moment, you know what? It was funny enough that even she laughed.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it's the funniest thing that can be said at that moment. You might as well say it.
Was pretty fun. Come on.
I could think of funnier things.
I have a rule.
At the time you laugh.
I have a rule with my son because I've trained him to be, trained is probably not the best word, but raised, parented him in a way with which I want my kids to be good to hang out with, necessarily. Like first make your kids the types that you want to be around, right? Which meant he's always been good to hang with adults, but now as he gets older, if he's a bit of a smartass, it's kind of a problem for me.
Facing that issue, yes.
Yeah. So what I've been finding though is I've had to explain to him, like, listen, you can talk back, but it's got to be real fucking funny.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the requirement.
Like you can be as but if it's not funny, it's disrespectful. So it better be real funny. So these are these lines that he walks where I'm like, that was not funny enough. Now you're in trouble.
That's actually a very good point.
Yeah.
I was making a joke that day. Don't look at me like this just because I make you wear shorts.